First of all, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity that has been given toward me and my friends. And me as the member of the government would definitely open this debate, open my arguments. I'm very sorry. First of all, we would like to say that impoverishing corruptors are definitely one of the things that we can definitely do, because in doing so, we can definitely get something that we call compensation. So what is compensation? Compensation is definitely one of the things that you get. In Indonesia, we call it ganti rugi. So we definitely get back the money that they have stolen from us. So we can definitely get it back and put it to our account to make some other things and changes in our government and in our society. So compensation definitely will work as one of the main factors of empowering them, because we would say that compensation is one of the things that we want to do, because in empowering them, making that they're poor and become the normal kind of people that they were at the first place, and the money belongs to the people that they stole from. So we're giving back to the people who really need their money, not really their families, but we also tend to make some limits by actually giving like a little bit of the percentage of what we're going to take to their family, so the family can still be able to afford living for themselves and afford being able to make a living out of them. Also, we would also like to say that empowering corruptors will not lead to crime. Why? Because empowering corruptors will not lead to crime, because they are educated and rich people at the first place. Before the corruption began, they are actually educated, and that's why they can actually be in power, and that's why they can actually take so much power and then accountable for them at the first place. So to say that they're going to commit petty crimes like thieving or pickpocketing in the street, I think that would definitely make not a lot of sense, because they are educated and able to make a living out of themselves by making things like perhaps getting another job or being in an education that is definitely way more than the rest of the people. So to be able to think that they are trying to make another crime is definitely out of the sight. Also, I would also like to say that by empowering them, we'll definitely strip them by the power that they have at the first place. One of the things that I heard earlier was that power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So people with a lot of powers can definitely corrupt absolutely. A lot of things they can corrupt, especially if you're in definitely one of the top executive government in our country. You can definitely exploit a lot of things like that. So it's really risky to be that sort of government side. So we definitely need more regulation to take care of them. And basically we do have KPK and things that take care of them, but we do need something else, kind of like our own conscience to say that corruption isn't right. So that's true. And empowering them would definitely take all of the money that they have, and so that they have like just enough for themselves, but not enough to be back on their feet to corrupt again. So empowering them will also make sure that they're not going to be able to do the same act over and over again, and then they were just going to be stuck at the same place that they are now. The thing that I would also like to say is that corruption is an extraordinary crime. It's definitely one of the crimes that you can't really just think about one aspect of it. For instance, we could definitely say stealing is a crime, but stealing in a supermarket is a petty crime, because it doesn't really hurt anybody but the owner of the supermarket. But corruption is an extraordinary crime, because you are stealing a lot of money that is belonging to a lot of people, and it would definitely be detrimental to our society and to our economic system. So to be able to punish them at a very high standard is definitely worth it, and I think empowering them would definitely bring such a huge justice back to our system. Also bring back to what is belong to the people. I would also like to say that rehabilitation isn't really worth it, because there are a lot of things that are definitely not right about rehabilitation. Also, now that we know that empowering them would definitely bring a lot of peace and justice to our society, I would also like to talk on how we're supposed to achieve empowering them. First of all, what we'd like to talk about is that we're trying to audit, like we're trying to review all of their assets, all of their richness, that we count them all up, and then we're trying to round them up, all of the numbers, and as soon as we get the numbers, we kind of compare that numbers to the cost that they have done to our society, the numbers of what they have corrupted, and then we compare the numbers and we make sure that the money that he has can actually pay back to our government. So in that much of a thing, we can actually make a bank out of it. Also, after we make sure that they have the money to pay back to us, we are going to foreclose all of his stuff, all of their stuff, and we're trying to make sure that all of the things that belongs to government came back to us. And maybe you would say that, how about the family? How is the family going to live off that? Well, maybe we can definitely bring some kind of like a healthcare or welfare to the family, like just like a basic healthcare, like a normal people needs and human rights thing. And then after all of that, the thing that I would like to really keen on in this motion is that if we're trying to say that empowering one family is definitely worth it, because we are just trying to empowering one family, not a lot of families. In a society, we're trying to say that if we are living in a place where there's a lot of people, would it actually make sense to just kind of impoverish one family instead of a lot of families? So that's why I think that we should impoverish corruptors. Thank you very much.
Okay, this is me speaking as a second speaker of the closing government. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talking about impoverished to the corruptors. Okay, so okay, we're talking here based on the opposition team state that we're harming or we're violating the CGS of the criminal justice system. First of all, we are here not to violate the CGS because we are not really taking their life. We are impoverish them, but we also give them a basic standard of their life. So we still give them a basic minimum standard of living, a house, but it's not a luxury as it is. So we just taking all of their assets, which is coming from corruptions or their own assets, and then we give them like a bit percent to them to make a living. So we're not violating CGS. By the way, corruption itself is violating human rights. So if we're talking about we don't do impoverish because it's violating their rights, but in the first place they're committing corruption. It's already a harm for human rights, that it's violating the rights of 1,000 people, of a million people in Indonesia. So why should we consider the things for them? Because it's have to do. It's the right thing to do. Okay, so so I want to talk about the things that the opposition say before, that it's a regulation. Here, she's not really talking and explaining things about the methods of rehabilitations. And here I think that rehabilitation is a matter of this kind of things, because as we know in Indonesia, the status quo, the rehabilitation, as if we talk about jail, is not really working towards them, because corruptors still commits corruption even if they're already in jail. So that it have like a insignificant effect of deterrent effect towards them. So we need to talk about something different, which is impoverished. And then if we talk about rehabilitation, it takes cost more than impoverished. We as a government, why should we spend cost on something that is already disadvantage of us? Like, why do we have to spend a lot of things to make a rehabilitation for them? Yeah, so I think the impoverished is a better and effective way, and in an extent that impoverished itself, it's already given a rehabilitation effect towards them. And the third thing is they're not the corrupt people. There is educated people. There's a healthy person. They make the decision to corrupt is based on their conscious mind. So they're not in a state of have like a mental health, so they corrupt. So I think that rehabilitation in this sector, in this context, is unrelated. Okay, so I think we have to back again. We as a part of government is really supporting these things that we have to impoverish the corruptors, and by any means that I think beside of this, it will provide. It will make them by applying the impoverished corruption to propose deterrent effect towards them. I think that's all for me. Thank you.